Hey everyone, Blaze here. Welcome back to another anime collection overview video. Today we're going to be taking a look at my sports anime section, which is pretty sizable thanks to things like this and this. They kind of bloat it a bit, but yeah, there isn't a hell of a lot here, and it only goes up to the letter R. So anyway, so yeah, sports and racing, I should probably say. There's a couple of racing things in here as well. So let's start off with a mid-90s OVA, or like late 80s. I can't remember exactly when this came out, but it's around that period. This is a 2-episode OVA called Ayane's High Kick, put out by Central Park Media. There's a couple of versions of this. I think this is the first version that probably came out in like the late 90s or something. Yeah, so this is about Ayane here, who dreams of becoming like a professional wrestling champion. She's just obsessed with professional wrestling. And she basically gets tricked by a trainer here at her local gym or whatever or something into becoming a kickboxer because she's basically got this really good high kick. And yeah, so basically she gets entered into like this kickboxing tournament against her will, and it's all about like comedy and stuff as she ends up like challenging like the champion of Japan or something like. I'm actually able to remember more than this than I realised, but yeah, so maybe it did stick with me more than I remembered, because it's not exactly the most amazing thing in the world, if I'm honest. It was fine, I guess, for 2 episodes, not the most memorable thing, just one of those OVAs that I like to pick up. Anyway, speaking of, we have a grappler Baki, the Ultimate Fighter, based on the long-running Baki franchise, or however the hell you say it. I think it's Baki, but I might be wrong. Sounds better than Baki anyway. That means something else in the UK. So anyway, yeah, Grappler Baki, the Ultimate Fighter. Yeah, this is a 45-minute OVA, I think, or something. I really like this one, and I'd really like to have a version that wasn't one of the bankrupt stock versions that has the saw mark on the spine. It's kind of annoying. But yeah, like I said, this is a really good OVA, I think. I don't know, I just really like it because it's super brutal. Like, holy crap, this thing's horrific. Like, people have like their arteries snapped in this and like get made, like, and nerves get like destroyed in order to like make other fighters go blind and stuff. And I don't know, it's maybe not as horrific, like, it's horrific sounding, but it's not exactly gratuitous, or however the hell you say that word, in the way it's animated as such. It's still pretty brutal, but it's not the most brutal thing I've ever seen anime-wise. But yeah, I really like this. Just got a soft spot for it, because, you know, it's only 50 minutes long, and again, apologies for my finger. But yeah, it's only about 50 minutes long, but I just really like it. Again, like, its shorter running time makes it easier to forgive it not being this like very deep story or anything. It's just fun, and that's fine. So following on, we have Buckler the Grapply. Bucky the Grappler, the complete series. Yeah, this is the early 2000s adaptation. This is seasons 1 and 2. This is the only way to get this show in a compact release, is via this Viridian collection. And I'm really lucky to have this, because not only was this yeah, this only got like 12 volume releases. Like, it never got like even complete season 1 and season 2 sets. The only way to get this series in anything that isn't the 12 volumes is this set, and I bought it way after it went out of print, so and it's in really nice condition, my version, like, considering what some excuse me, considering what some of these sets end up looking like. This one actually looks really nice. So yeah, I've not watched this show yet. I have high hopes for it when I do, at least kinda. I hope to enjoy it, considering how much I like the original. Obviously, there's a series currently on Netflix right now, or at least in Japan. It's planned to come over later this year, I think, into English. But yeah, and I think that's like a retelling rather than a continuation or something. But yeah, I'm looking forward to watching this eventually. I've had this for a while. I probably should have watched it by now. I guess it's just because it's 50 episodes, and since it's all in one complete set, I would plan to probably watch all of it in one go. So yeah, I've just not been able to fit it in yet, but I hope to enjoy it when I do. Okay, moving on, we have Bamboo Blade Part 1. This is about Kendo, like a Kendo group, a female Kendo group. It's pretty okay. It's kind of like light-hearted comedy. I think like the manager is kind of like the main character, really, the guy. who runs the kendo club, and you got this girl here who's basically like a prodigy, and she's also like obsessed with tokusatsu type shows, like Ultraman type stuff. I can't remember what the version. It's like a fictional version in here, but though that like plays quite a big part in it as well. Yeah, it's fine. Bamboo Blade. There's not really much to say about it. It's just an okay show. Nothing too special. This came out in like 2009 or something, 2010. The DVDs, I think. I don't remember when the show came out. Maybe 2006 or something. I don't remember. But anyway, Bamboo Blade, nothing to write home about. It's just fine. Okay, then we move on to what is very close to my favourite anime ever made, and it's actually the anime I've watched more than any other, because just recently I watched the original series of Big Wind Up for a 4th time. So this is a baseball series. This was a hugely disappointing seller for Funimation, and this is obviously something that makes me very sad, because Big Wind Up, well, you'll be unsurprised to learn, given how many times I've watched it, is incredible. It's such a good series. I absolutely love this. And again, like, I've always been interested in baseball, but obviously it's not a thing that really is played in the UK at all. But I kind of like the sport, and watching it in an anime where they go into like the technicalities of it, and you get to hear all the thought processes of all the characters, especially between the pitcher and the catcher, like the battery and stuff. Like, it's just really, really cool, like all the strategy that goes on. And it's the thing I love about Big Wind Up is the fact that it's basically just really like grounded and realistic. Like, it's because, you know, it's animated, they could go a little bit over the top. Some of the characters could have like special moves and things like that, but you know, and like just outrageous shot types and stuff, you kind of see that. Like, even another series I watched recently this year that's just pretty similar to Big Wind Up, and another one we'll be talking about later that I really love, in Fighting Spirit. Like, but they kind of have these like sort of like over the top animations and sometimes over the top looking characters. But Big Wind Up doesn't have any of that. Like, there's no one in this show has blue hair or green hair or anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's all realistic looking, and it's all grounded, and it's just, yeah, it feels like what you might watch in like drama form. Like, the only thing that's kind of like not realistic is like some of the over exaggerations for the faces and stuff, like for comedic effect and things. But other than that, like, it's just wonderful, and I was so happy. This is a Big Wind Up too, because obviously, like I said, originally Funimation put out Big Wind Up, and it was a complete bomb. Didn't sell at all, and they were like, which means they weren't going to license and dub season 2. But then eventually, Right Stuff have come along and put out Big Wind Up 2, albeit sub only, and only on DVD, since this was made in HD originally. But yeah, at least I was able to put it on the shelf, and I'll be forever thankful for that. And I still pray to this day that we might get a continuation of this. The manga's been going for like nearly 10 years now, so there's so much more content that could be animated in Japan. And it's kind of weird because like the manga is popular in Japan. I mean, you don't run for 10 years nearly without being popular. And obviously there's a lot of like baseball manga in Japan, given how, you know, it's basically the national sport of Japan in many ways in terms of popularity. So yeah, it's, you know, there's a lot of baseball stuff, but Big Wind Up is definitely a series that has been enjoyed in Japan for a long time, but for some reason the anime adaptations have only gone up to like 39 episodes. And then when you see stuff like Ace of Diamond come out, and within the space of 2 years it got 150 episodes, it hurts, man. It really hurts. I really want to watch Ace of Diamond, but again, Ace of Diamond, even from like episode 1, I could tell that it was, again, not in the same vein as Big Wind Up. Without, it doesn't, it's kind of more like Haikyuu, where things are a little bit more shonen-y, a little bit more exaggerated, and there's nothing wrong with that as such. But I mean, I loved Haikyuu. But in the sense of like Big Wind Up, like, one of my favourite parts about it is the fact it's so grounded, and it's awesome. Okay, moving on. Next up we have Future GPX Cyber Formula. This is a futuristic Formula 1 type series of a, I mean, I hasten to call it Formula 1 because it's like closed cockpit racing. It's more like futuristic, like I mean, if I can get really nerdy and specific about racing, like World Endurance Championship, like Le Mans car type thing, like not even NASCAR really, because that's like stock car obviously. So yeah, yeah, this is a series from like the early 90s that Bandai put out. Surprisingly, really, they even bothered to even try to put this series out in America, because obviously America doesn't even really like Formula One that much, and they're very inward looking when it comes to their racing. It's all about IndyCar and NASCAR and stuff. They don't tend to enjoy the stuff that's from around the world, at least not to the same levels. So yeah, a series like this, which isn't really like any of the NASCAR or IndyCar, is probably not ever going to do that well, and it probably didn't, which is a shame, because there's like multiple releases to this franchise. I've not really got into it yet. I've only seen the first couple of episodes. I want to eventually go through and watch the whole thing, but yeah, this is the complete collection, part 1 and then part 2, but these actually came as part of like a box set that had like a slip cover on it originally, but I don't have it. It is sub only. But yeah, I haven't watched it yet. I think I will enjoy it whenever I get to it, and I'd like to watch the whole franchise at some point. It's definitely one of those ones I'd like to eventually just pile my way through and just watch the whole thing. So yeah, because like I said, there's plenty of like OVA sequels and stuff, which is really cool. I know Nate, the old school otaku, really likes this series. So yeah, I hope to get to it eventually. Okay, moving on. We have the Goliath of my sport anime collection, and one of the, I think, this, other than like Naruto and Bleach and stuff, this is like my longest amount of volumes for a show. We have 15 volumes plus the movie here for Fighting Spirit, which is one of the absolute greatest anime ever made. Yes, it's about sports. Yes, it's about boxing. But if you like anything like Naruto, any shonen fighting series, you owe it to yourself to watch one which is probably the best of the lot. I actually do think this anime is better than One Piece. Like, it's just such a fantastic series. I honestly cannot recommend it highly enough. And again, yeah, I will concede, I do like the sport of boxing, so there's certainly other parts of it that I will enjoy that maybe other people will have to, get around. But honestly, like, if you like fighting anime, there's like no reason not to like this one at all. Like, just because it's about boxing. If anything, boxing, the fact it's about boxing makes it more interesting, because there's rules to play by. Someone can't just have like, oh, you think that's gonna beat me? Check out my new super duper whooper special move that will destroy you. Like, no, this is like real boxing. Yeah, they have like some sort of special moves, but it's relatively grounded in the sport, and it's really cool. The fights is like super tense, and the whole thing is dubbed into English for this season at least. And yeah, I was really fortunate to buy these as they were going cheap on Right Stuff. They were like $5 a volume, and I just bought all of them apart from one. The only one I had to buy second hand was this one, volume 12 I think it is. This one cost me like $15, bought from Amazon, but the rest of them were all like $5 each. And yeah, this is like the complete 75 episode TV series, which is the original series from like the early 2000s. And then we've got the TV special movie Champion Road, which is also dubbed into English. And another curious thing about these actually is, see it here on the spine? Is it going to come through? Tri-audio or trilingual. So it's got English, Japanese and Spanish audio. I presume this the dub for the Spanish version is from Mexico, but yeah, that's pretty cool, isn't it? So yeah, if you speak Spanish, you can also watch this in Spanish audio. And the cool thing about that, I would presume anyway, I don't actually know this for sure, but if you're able to speak Spanish, then chances are the subsequent seasons of New Challenger and maybe Rising as well probably also have Spanish dubs out there somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised. But unfortunately, since this was such a terrible seller for Genny and one of the worst sellers they ever had, they sold like less than 100 volumes of some of these at full price. So yeah, it was an absolute stinker, a complete bomb, unfortunately. Which again, that makes me so sad when you think of the like shows like Naruto and Bleach and Dragon Ball Z and One Piece. are such massive sellers, and I think Fighting Spirit, honest to God, is better than all of those. I love One Piece to death. I love it. Fighting Spirit is a better anime. Like, it's not even that hard for me to say that. It really isn't. Like, I've had some wonderful times with One Piece, but Fighting Spirit is amazing. Hajime no Ippo is amazing. It is one of my absolute favourite ever franchises. I love it, and I really hope we'll get a new season eventually. Like, the manga's up to like 1,000 chapters. I think this only covers, or like, all that's out right now is about 125 episodes of the anime, which is a lot. There's a lot of really good Fighting Spirit anime to watch, but I think it only goes up to like chapter 400 of what they've currently adapted, so there's so much left to adapt. But even in Japan, this series obviously isn't the hottest of properties when it comes to anime, because they just seem to take forever to do new seasons. We got New Challenger about 8 years after this finished airing, and then we got what was it? We also got Rising about 4 or 5 years after that. So it takes time for stuff to come out. The last season was in 2013, which kills me to say that, honestly. Like, I think it finished airing in like early 2014. But yeah, it's painful. It's really painful, because I want more of this show as much as I can get of it, because I adore it. It's amazing. Another series that I really adore that has a pretty good track record of releases in English-speaking territories is Initial D. Obviously the street racing series does super awesome stuff, so I've got the complete Funimation releases for this. So we've got the first stage, part 1, and the first stage, part 2, so that completes the first series. Then we got the second series, second stage with the OVA, and then we've got the third stage, which is actually a film, so like an hour and a half film or something, or an hour and 40 minutes I think actually. And then finally for the Funimation releases, we got the fourth stage, which came out in like the early, like 2004 or something, 2003. Like, the first series came out in like 96 or 97, or actually no, I think it's 1998 actually. But anyway, yeah, so that's what we've got so far for Initial D, and what we're probably ever going to get of the original franchise. Unfortunately, there is like a season 5, 5th stage, and then a 4-episode OVA called the final stage that actually completes the full adaptation of the manga. Which is actually surprising, given how long the manga is. Like, if you'd think there was more story to be adapted, but apparently not. So yeah, you got the 5th stage, and it's only like 20 episodes. I think there's like 20 episodes or 8. There's not very many episodes. 18, I think it is. 20 or 18, I can't quite remember. Somewhere around there. Episodes left to be licensed. And I just wish someone like Sentai, Funimation even, or, you know, Discotech, would just go, okay, here it is, we'll throw you a bone, here it is, here's the final, like, 20 episodes, whatever it is, subtitled. I'll take them not dubbed. I'm not expecting them to be dubbed, but I'll take them, like, here it is, just the final part of the show for those of you that want it, because that's all that's left. That's all that's left. We've got all of this, and not only do we have all of this, but the first stage here and the second stage have actually been dubbed twice. You got the Funimation version here, but previously Tokyo Pop put them out, and it had a completely different dub. And then when Funimation put out their version, they redubbed it and gave it back the original Japanese soundtrack, which, thank God for that, because the soundtrack obviously to Initial D is amazing, with, you know, Night on Fire and all that sort of stuff, and like Space Boy and No One Sleep in Tokyo, and I could go on and on and on. It's amazing. So yeah, but curiously, I only have the first one so far, but we have the new Initial D movies. This was like 3 60-minute movies that have adapted the entire franchise again, which obviously means they're very condensed. There's not a lot of depth to these, but they are pretty fun. They got some nice fancy new animation, and yeah, Sentai actually licensed these and are putting them out, or have put them all out now, I think. So I just need to get the last 2, but yeah, Initial D Legend 1, Awakening, and these actually have dubs. I have not watched it with the dub. I would presume it's an all-new cast, which would make some of these characters being dubbed for the 3rd time in English, which is almost Lupin levels. It's kind of insane, really, when you think about it, given how slightly obscure and not mainstream this franchise is. It's kind of surprising that this is going to be one of those shows that has potentially 3 English cast members for some of the characters, which is mad. But yeah, I just need to get the last two. I like these movies, but they're not overly amazing, but they're worth having for Initial D fans, of which I am one. Like, I've seen the whole franchise. Like I said, I've seen the fifth stage and the final stage via subs, and I originally watched these with subs. The 3 movies I watched with subs, as and when they came available. But yeah, I'm super happy they've been licensed. I just need to get the last 2 that, like I said, have just come out. Okay, next up we have Ping Pong the animation. I've not watched this series yet. It's an Automata series, 11 episodes, and it's made by, I've got to get this name right, I always forget his name, like Masayaki, where is it? Is it not on here? Yeah, Masaki Yuasa, the guy that made freaking like Mind Game and like a ton of other really crazy looking series. I know he did like the one other thing I really like that he did, I need to watch way more of his stuff, but the one other thing that he did that I really like is the pilot for Vampire Kids, like this kids show from like 1999 or something. He did a pilot for it and it's really good. If you can track that down and watch that on via fan subs, it's well worth it. It's really funny. But yeah, I don't know why, I just haven't got around to watching Ping Pong the animation. Totally plan to, and I totally plan to buy the rest of his stuff. I used to have, oh, what's that show called? That one that Discotek put out, I can't remember what it's called now. I used to have it on Siren Visual DVD. I've totally forgotten the name. I know it begins with K, but it's completely left my mind right now. But anyway, yeah, Ping Pong the animation, I hope to watch it eventually. I know it's supposed to be really good. Okay, and here's one I bought just recently. This is the Right Stuff re-release of Princess 9. This is a 98 series, I think. 1998. I bought this one basically on recommendation from Dynamic Dylan. It's a series I've always wanted to watch. I think it's kind of like supposed to be like one of the comparisons they would probably make is A League of Their Own, or whatever that series was called. Oh, that series, the movie. No Crying in Baseball and all of that, I think. I've actually never watched that film, but I know it's very famous. Anyway, yeah, so it's like a female baseball series. It looks to be a lot of fun, from what I understand, and I said Dynamic didn't really liked it. Obviously, I really love Big Wind-Up, so I figured I should probably get this. I think this is like the only other baseball series that's been dubbed into English. So, yeah, I decided to pick it up in this nice compact release that Right Stuff did. I love the packaging for this, with like the pinstripe spine and stuff. It looks super cool. Really, really like it. Okay, and last, and well, not least I guess, but Red Line. I do like this film, but it's not something I'm overly crazed about, and yeah, I kind of put it here because it is about racing, but obviously it's not based in any realism. It's sci-fi nuttiness. This movie's insane, but it's fun. It's really, really fun, I guess. It's got one of these stupid things on the back. I need to buy a new case for this. Actually, I have a replacement case for this now I think about it. I've got a single Blu Ray case I can put this in, so I can get rid of that stupid... Oh, I can't remember what they're called, but they're really annoying. Anyway, so yeah, Red Line. It's a fun film. It's a fun film. I don't really have too much to say about it. I know some people really, really highly rate that film, and I can understand why. Like, the animation's incredible, but I don't know, it's just not something I ever really think about watching again, at least not yet. But maybe I will one day, like, just to watch the animation again, if anything else. Supposedly that film is actually made via cell animation, but I don't know if it was, like, the way that they mastered it, but you can barely tell. Like, it feels like it's a digital production to me. But yeah, apparently that was done by cell, because there's no film grain on it, so they must have shot it differently. But yeah, apparently the original is all painted. At least that's what Wikipedia says. I haven't really done my research, but that's, from what I understand, that's what that film was made by. Anyway, wow, this ended up being longer than I anticipated, but oh well, that seems to be the case with all of these. But yes, this was my sports anime shelf. Next time we'll be talking about Super Sentai Tokusatsu superpower type shows and the like. So yeah, remember guys, I'll see you next time.